I finished the CVV interview with Damian Priest and something stood out to me. Priest said he didn't think WWE would ever sign him after a certain point. Yet with that mindset, he was determined to continue working in Ring of Honor because he simply wanted to be a professional wrestler. Of course, he would eventually find success as a WWE superstar, and I couldn't be happier for him. But his love for the business, regardless of that level of success, is what inspired me to take a look back at Damian Priest's Ring of Honor run, from beginning to end. Besides having a few dark matches under his wing, Priest is pretty new to Ring of Honor fans when he enters the Top Prospect Tournament of 2016. As Punisher Martinez, he defeats Colby Corino in the first round. Leo Rush is his semi-final opponent. Obviously, Punisher's size is an issue for Rush, but it doesn't matter if he's too quick to hit. Punisher shows he's willing to fly something impressive for a man that big. A chokeslam from the top is countered and Rush beats his much larger opponent. Several months later, he returns as the Punishment Damian Martinez. He's led by Kevin Sullivan, yes, that Kevin Sullivan. The big man embraces the darkness as he takes on the wrestler known as Cheeseburger. Poor Cheeseburger. Martinez chews him up and spits him out. With a great and powerful force, Cheeseburger sent south of heaven. Accompanied by BJ Whitmer, Damian Martinez enters the Honor Rumble. Martinez eliminates Steve Corino, a man who Kevin Sullivan has issues with. Beer City Bruiser is eliminated next. Martinez gets rid of Sean Carr, and then he even eliminates Hanson. Martinez clashes with Big Bull James. But while the Hosses fight each other, Silas Young and Jay Lethal throw them both over. With Whitmer's assistance, Martinez continues to attack Bull. It's Silas Young who wins the Honor Rumble. Damian's frustrations are loosed upon Will Ferrara. After being disposed of with the South of Heaven, the fallen Ferrara is subjected to ceaseless domination. Cheeseburger fearlessly throws himself at the assailants. His bravery is punished with violence. Ferrara throws his body upon Cheeseburger to absorb the abuse. Steve Corino enters this scene, and when Whitmer lays a golden spike at his feet, Corino must decide between savior or scoundrel. He resists dark temptations and helps the victims to their feet. It's the start of something ungodly as Damian Martinez and BJ Whitmer begin tagging regularly. Their first opponents are of course Cheeseburger and Will Ferrara. The smaller athletes can't match Damian's strength, but they do present Whitmer with a slight hiccup. Regardless, Damian ensures an easy win. The winners continue to inflict pain. Once again, Steve Corino stops their misdeeds. There's a battle of the big men when Damian faces off against Donovan Dijak and Beer City Bruiser in a triple threat. This is pretty fun stuff. Damian hits another impressive dive, but this isn't his match to win as Dijak pins Bruiser. Whitmer and Martinez run roughshod over the team of Jim Beardsley and Blake Acumen. It doesn't appear these guys will be stopped anytime soon. Like lambs to the slaughter, Cheeseburger and Will Ferrara take on Whitmer and Martinez again. Cheeseburger gets a little too spunky. BJ says instead of pinning him, Cheeseburger should be impaled with a golden spike. Steve Corino's music hits, but no Corino. However, Cheeseburger uses the distraction to pin BJ Whitmer. This upset incurs the fullest extent of Damian and Whitmer's wrath. Cheeseburger's hand is almost mutilated, but Ferrara pulls him out of trouble. Security tries to control the situation, but they only provide fresh meat for the butchers. Later that night, Bull James and Adam Cole wrestle. The unfinished business Bull has with Martinez results in a distraction and Adam Cole victory. Damian and Whitmer's intentions are unsavory. Luckily, Mr. Wrestling 3 arrives on the scene. Well, sure, it's Steve Corino. Regardless, the heels are driven off for now. This leads to Martinez and Whitmer versus Bull James and Mr. Wrestling 3 the following night. A boot to the skull nearly defeats Martinez, but Mr. Wrestling 3 eats an exploder through a table. Damian's finisher is enough to end him after that. Something wicked with a piece of broken table is attempted until Bull James stops Whitmer and Martinez. They decide to stand down. To qualify for the 2016 Survival of the Fittest, Damian must first win a three-way involving Colt Cabana and Cheeseburger. Obviously, he guns straight for Cheeseburger, and there isn't a lot Burger can do about it. Cheeseburger does make for a nice weapon, though. Fans would love to see the little guy win this thing, but there's no way that's happening. So let's look at the survival of the fittest qualifiers. Of course Damian Martinez, but also Lio Rush, Dalton Castle, Bobby Fish, Jax Dane, and the Panther. Damian's highlights include getting beefy with Dane, a last ride to the apron, eliminating Dalton Castle with the South of Heaven, a big dive to the outside, and this very cool exchange with Lio Rush. It's Rush who eliminates Damian though. Martinez makes Rush pay for that victory. Bobby Fish then wins survival of the fittest by submitting Rush. Now, most people probably know these big fellas as the Viking Raiders, Eric and Ivar. In ROH, they were called War Machine, Rowe and Hansen. You already saw Martinez and Hansen interact in the Honor Rumble, so it's no surprise how physical things become when War Machine meet Whitmer and Damian in tag action. When Hansen clotheslines Martinez to the outside, tempers flare. The same goes for Whitmer and Rowe, so Paul Turner throws this out. Well, I guess Whitmer didn't like that. Martinez chokeslams Rowe through a table, leaving Hansen alone to get attacked. Kevin Sullivan uses this opportunity to call forth Steve Corino. He whispers something in Corino's ear, but Corino looks somewhat befuddled. Now, if you're expecting a big match out of this Corino stuff, well, Corino does give in to Sullivan's dark influence, but this culminates in a match against Cody. Corino looks to sacrifice him and ends up on the losing end of the battle. After that, Steve Corino exits Ring of Honor to work as a trainer in WWE. Martinez and Whitmer look to settle the score with War Machine when these two teams clash again. After Whitmer pulls a table out, all four men begin brawling on the floor, resulting in a double countout. The ring of the bell is meaningless. They're not stopping. The brawl keeps going on in the back. It looks like no disqualification is the only way to go. War Machine begin match number 3 with an ambush. It's chaos from the get-go as fans chant for War Machine. This is a match worth watching in full if you have the means to do so. A South of Heaven explodes a table, giving Martinez a pinfall victory over Hansen. After that, Damian frees himself from the weak link when BJ also eats a chokeslam. No more Steve Corino or Kevin Sullivan. It's time for Martinez to continue his Ring of Honor journey unburdened. Damian's his own man now, and this new path starts with him winning a 6-man Mayhem match by pinning the rotund Beer City Bruiser. But this isn't a straight shot to the top. Hansen eliminates Martinez from a Manhattan Mayhem Battle Royal. It's Martinez versus Cheeseburger, Chris Sabin, Silas Young, Frankie Kazarian, and Hangman Adam Page in a ruckus 6-man Mayhem match, which will determine a #1 contender for the World Television Championship. When Martinez gives Hangman a South of Heaven on the apron, Hangman's out for the night. You'd think that's fine as fellow Bullet Club member Kaz wins the match. But in the main event, Kazarian turns his back on the group, and Christopher Daniels wins the ROH World title from Adam Cole. Had Page not received Damian's finisher, he would have been there to change the course of history. Damian's none too pleased with Kazarian taking his opportunity. Cheeseburger took the pin at the anniversary show, so Martinez guns for him before having a match with Frankie. Hangman wanting revenge for Kazarian's betrayal costs him the match. Martinez and Hangman have their own issues to resolve, and that's in a little bit. First, Hansen and Martinez collide mano a mano, and it's pretty darn awesome. Hansen's on top early, so Damian relies on his God-given athleticism to gain the advantage. After another impressive display, the South of Heaven gets things done. It's Martinez, Shane Taylor, Beer City Bruiser, and Old Cheeseburger in a match. And take a look at Cheeseburger bringing the fight to Damian. Maybe he bit off a bit more than he can chew against these big boys. Why does this remind me of this? Cheeseburger is of course the fall guy as Bruiser picks up the win, but can the Beer City Bruiser achieve the same outcome when fighting Damian Martinez one-on-one? Martinez comes up short on this dive and it doesn't look good, oh my god. Regardless of that, Damian picks up another singles W. In fact, Damian's singles record has been pretty impressive so far. Now enter Jay White. Someone about to throw a monkey wrench into the wheels of Damian's momentum. After Damian tries his devastating South of Heaven on the apron, Jay answers with an uppercut flurry before a shotgun dropkick really earns Jay propulsion toward victory. Martinez is really motivated to up the voltage and shut down Jay White right on the spot. Jay begins using forearms. Damian answers in kind, but the smaller man isn't backing down. In fact, he begins to punish the Punisher until a powerful clothesline leads to White having to endure a psycho driver. Jay kicks out, but the South of Heaven will finish this, except White counters it into a pinfall victory. Martinez can't believe it. He can't allow the night to end on that note. A curb stomp to Jay's head is the core Damian decides to strike. Now, we finally get to Damian and Adam Page getting their hands on each other, but it's a three-way involving Bully Ray. Page and Damian play the one-upsmanship game by seeing who can beat up Bully Ray more. Page avoids what took him out at the 15th anniversary show and hits a shooting star shoulder block instead. It's at this point Page fills in for Devon Dudley. Bully even tells him to get the tables. Hangman says that's enough nostalgia for now. Martinez survives a buckshot lariat and then goes on to hit chokeslams on both his opponents. He's sent outside though, and Bully Ray pins Hangman with a bully bomb. The seeds are planted for Adam Page and Damian Martinez to butt heads one-on-one, but that's way down the road. Punishment Damian Martinez wrestles Tetsuya Naito, and the no-nonsense monster allows the trollish Los Ingobernables leader to frustrate him. Damian deals with some irritation, but a last right to Naito on the apron is a game changer. Suddenly, the big man is a big threat. So Naito gets serious, locks in, and makes a target out of Damian's knee. The Psycho Driver is followed by an elevated chokeslam attempt that Naito is able to counter. After the work on his leg, Damian nearly submits to Naito. However, he powers through and goes for the South of Heaven, which Naito counters into the Destino. Martinez kicks out, but a second Destino lays him to rest. Another singles loss for Damian. To get back on track, he must revisit Jay White in a match and attain success this time. After Jay White and Will Ospreay tear the house down in New York City, the niceties are short-lived when Punishment Damian Martinez brings forth aggression to bestow upon both individuals. This ensures Damian will be afforded the rematch needed to return to his winning ways. In this rematch, Jay White wants a piece of Martinez just as much as Martinez wants a piece of him. If targeting the big man's legs worked for Naito, it's a worthwhile strategy to adopt. An overzealous White ends up getting chokeslammed on the apron. Martinez begins making the proper steps toward victory, and right as he readies the South of Heaven, Damian is once again caught off guard. Jay White has done it again. Just as before Punishment, Damian Martinez does not accept the loss with grace. At Gateway to Gold, there is a gauntlet match to determine a challenger for Christopher Daniels and the Ring of Honor Championship. Cheeseburger gets a surprise win over Kenny King. Of course, Punishment Martinez is the next man out. See ya later, Burger. Jay White is the final participant in the gauntlet, and of course all hell breaks loose. These men brawl outside until they're both counted out. Christopher Daniels, a fighting champion, makes it known he will defend against both men in a triple threat. And so later in the night, the three men bring their best. Martinez bowls over both of his opponents, so they realize a bit of teamwork is needed to neutralize Damian. With the big man out of the equation, Daniels retains his belt with the best moonsault ever. Not only has White caused a great deal of personal turmoil, but because of him, the richest prize in ROH has slipped through Damian's fingers. Punishment tears through everyone in sight leading into this, a Las Vegas street fight against Jay White. Punishment is blindsided as White begins this tussle as the aggressor. Martinez undergoes a bit of suffering. When using a chair goes awry, Punishment Martinez lets Jay White have it. A Psycho Driver on a chair should destroy anyone. White struggles out of position and uses that chair to his advantage. This gives White an opening to go bonkers. In fact, he becomes rather ruthless. A Desperation Falcon Arrow staves off further harm, however the reprieve is short-lived. Punishment's rage fuels this dive. He's gearing for a comeback. Jay knows he must stop momentum from building. He even hits the Kiwi Crusher. Martinez kicks out though. Jay puts something together that will surely slay the monster. It's used against him though, as Martinez nails a last ride and psycho driver. Jay White somehow survives. Martinez says it's time for thumbtacks. Jay gives one last defiant slap before Martinez finally puts him to rest with a South of Heaven. These two do meet again. Jay White is the #1 entrant in the 2017 Honor Rumble. Entrant number 3 is Mr. Martinez. They go straight for one another. Punishment does end up getting rid of Jay White, but when everyone teams up against the big man, his time in the Rumble ends abruptly. Frankie Kazarian actually wins the whole thing. With Jay White in the rear view, Punishment can focus on gold again. Here he has to contend with Mark Briscoe, Chucky T, and Shane Taylor in a 4-corner survival to determine a #1 contender for the ROH television title. Martinez gets to square up with a fellow big man again. However, that big man stops Martinez from finishing Chucky T off. Punishment's body is used by Mark Briscoe to hit the froggy bow on Chucky to win this one. Because of Punishment's sneak attack on Ospreay and White at War of the Worlds, Ospreay and Martinez go toe-to-toe against one another. The aerial assassin, bursting with piss and vinegar, isn't intimidated one bit. Martinez really struggles to get cooking here, but it only takes one mistake from Ospreay to allow his 6'7" opponent to wreak havoc. Martinez wants the South of Heaven. Ospreay pulls a Goku to save himself. A handspring kick catches Martinez off guard. From there, the high flyer becomes very aggressive. Check this out, it is awesome! The Pip Pip Cheerio is blocked. The South of Heaven is countered with a stunner. Ospreay has a chance to win, but he is denied. He's so close. Martinez has to cut him off. A South of Heaven from up top should be enough here. A Spanish Fly saves Will. The battle heats up. Ospreay has to take both a Falcon Arrow and Spin Kick, but that will not be the end. The Psycho Driver is avoided as Will fires back. Will goes for the Oz Cutter. It's straight into that Psycho Driver though. How's this kid not staying down? Running on empty, Ospreay goes for a dive that earns him a last ride on the apron. This is followed by the South of Heaven. He finally stays down, giving Punishment the win. There's a proving ground match. Winner earns a title shot against Kenny King for his TV title. King pins Josh Woods, unfortunately. Will Martinez ever get a taste of gold in ROH? Well, perhaps, because he defeats Josh Woods for a TV title shot at Final Battle. It should be noted that there are other contenders to be named. He will not be afforded a one-on-one match. One of those men will be Shane Taylor. Tonight, Martinez finally gets to wrestle him one-on-one. Punishment's advantage when wrestling other big men is his speed and agility. Throwing hands with East Cleveland natives should be avoided. Throwing feet, on the other hand, is a-okay. Taylor gets big-time offense in, but after letting loose with some high flying, Punishment puts Shane away. Even with Final Battle on the horizon, Martinez participates in the annual Survival of the Fittest. First, he qualifies by defeating Jay Lethal. As for the actual match, Martinez has Silas Young, Matt Taven, Shane Taylor, Jonathan Gresham, and Flip Gordon to get past. Taven is caught kicking Flip below the belt, so he goes bye-bye. After Gresham nails an SSP, both he and Flip eliminate Shane. Martinez gets rid of Gresham and then puts Silas Young away. Only Flip Gordon remains for Punishment. He's not a pushover by any stretch of the imagination, but a last ride, clothesline, curb stop combo puts him down. Punishment Martinez is the Survival of the Fittest winner. With this victory, Martinez is guaranteed a shot at the Ring of Honor champion. First, we head to Final Battle, where Kenny King, the television champion, has to deal with Silas Young, Shane Taylor, and of course, Punishment Martinez in an elimination match. A special entrance for Martinez is a good sign here. However, Silas Young being accompanied by the Beer City Bruiser is not a good sign. While Punishment survives a Shane Taylor splash, his ribs begin to be an issue. Punishment capitalizes on the champ's Royal Flush and gets rid of Taylor. After getting double teamed and eating a Royal Flush, Martinez is in bad shape. Silas Young uses one of Bruiser's beer bottles on Kenny King's skull to get rid of him. It's down to 2. Punishment hits his finisher for what should be his crowning moment. Bruiser saves Young's bacon though. The Big Oaf is targeted, but Martinez makes his ribs even worse. Silas goes to town on Punishment's injury, hits his finisher Misery, and steals the television championship. Here's a pit stop before the ROH title bout. Stemming from how Flip Gordon tested punishment at Survival of the Fittest, a singles encounter happens. Flip Gordon suffers punishment's brutality. As the smaller man impressed upon his opponent already, he doesn't lay down without a fight. Gordon hits a 450, but Martinez kicks out. Oh crap, that just made him mad. Flip avoids the South of Heaven and goes for a final flurry before Martinez plants him, hits a curb stomp, and then gets that South of Heaven in. It's over, but can he do the same to the champ? That champion, by the way, is the flamboyant showman Dalton Castle. Scoff if you may, beneath the pageantry is a talented technician. On ROH TV, Martinez gets his match against him. What did the five fingers say to the face? Pissing Martinez off is scary, but it's a thinking man's strategy. Martinez won't be clowned for long. If one thing fires Dalton up, it's going after his boys. Punishment dispenses his usual brand of pummeling. Dalton's amateur background becomes relevant. The Ring of Honor champion shows he can be every bit as threatening as the 6'7" monster. A single clothesline is all it takes for Martinez to tease a title change tonight. Dalton Castle is determined that he not endure the South of Heaven. That's fine, Martinez will hit the Psycho Driver instead, but Dalton Castle is able to eke out a win. No TV title, no world title. Punishment is back to the drawing board, and although he's not happy about it, he only needs to win a #1 contenders match to be a challenger again. The man he'll face to determine that, Marty Scurll, tags with him against Dalton Castle and Jay Lethal. Scurll accidentally blinds his own partner with powder. Castle clotheslines Martinez outside while Marty Scurll is pinned after a lethal injection. Punishment has plenty of reason to destroy Scurll outside of the #1 contendership now. The villain grabs what appears to be another bag of powder. Security guards surround him when he threatens Paul Turner. Punishment takes everyone out. He grabs a table and places Marty upon it. His plan to put his opponent through it backfires big time. The villain still has that bag. It's a red herring. After a kick below the belt, Scurll is able to walk away the winner. Hostility left over from Final Battle gives us Punishment Martinez versus Shane Taylor again. A fall-away slam followed by a cannonball in the corner and then one outside really makes you think he's got Punishment's number this night. A springboard over the top rope adjusts the match in Punishment's favor. The South of Heaven follows, and that's that. Here's a match I had no clue that existed, but here it is. Punishment Martinez versus Tomohiro Ishii. The Stone Pitbull is notorious for absorbing what's thrown at him. Martinez nearly ends himself by diving over the top again. Maybe he should cut that out. He keeps going though. Martinez hits a rare Hurricanrana that Ishii kicks out of. To Punishment's credit, he kicks out of the Super Brainbuster. This is a very physical fight. Ishii tries to avoid the South of Heaven, but Punishment will not be denied a win tonight. Speaking of wins, he does have one over Jay Lethal. Let's see if he can do it again. First, we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 suicide dives to Martinez to start the match. Then Lethal begins picking his opponent apart by focusing on his legs. Someone's getting punished here, and it's not Jay Lethal. Martinez stubbornly relies on his usual bag of tricks, but it's to his detriment. He can't nail the Psycho Driver, and his legs give out for the spinning heel kick. The lethal injection is hit, and that's all she wrote for Martinez this night. It's defy or deny time. The champion faces 3 other men. In this elimination match, he who wins is the #1 contender. Anyone Castle pins is barred from future title shots during his reign. With the South of Heaven, Martinez does away with Bruiser. Martinez prepares to do the same to the Ring of Honor champion. Marty Scurll prevents it and gets curb stomped for his troubles. Martinez goes for the Psycho Driver. Castle reverses it and nearly pins Martinez like before. Punishment gets Castle up for the Psycho Driver again and manages to hit it, but it's kicked out of. Another big move has got to finish Dalton. What happens instead is him hitting the Bangarang, his finisher, on Martinez and eliminating him. Marty Scurll wins this match with a roll-up. But the big news here is that Martinez can't challenge for the top prize anymore. At least not until the championship changes hands. Martinez must have bad intentions for whoever he wrestles next. Oh, it's just this guy named Cody. Maybe you've heard of him. Before the bell even rings, Martinez goes on the attack. Cody fights back. Martinez doesn't give a damn. He tosses a chair. Nope, that's nothing. Bernard the Business Bear steps up to Cody's defense. It doesn't go so well for him. Cody grabs another chair and, well, I don't know what Cody expected, but probably not this. So he shoves Martinez into a ring post, prepares for a dive, and well, that's not gonna work either. Martinez steps in the ring and the match officially begins. Is there anything Cody can do against this guy? Well, yes, as we've seen, Punishment's legs don't hold up well under pressure. Cody exposes the turnbuckle. It's actually used against Cody before eating a psycho driver. He survives it, so Martinez fights to hit the South of Heaven, but it ends in a crossroads. The move saves Cody, and it's he who gets his hand raised. Setback after setback as opportunities have slipped through Punishment's fingers have taken a toll. After losing to Cody, Punishment isn't interested in wrestling another Bullet Club member. He lashes out at Hangman Page and their scheduled match doesn't take place. That brass ring has been dangled in front of Punishment and Ring of Honor long enough. It's New Japan officials who grant him a title shot. Because of his win over Tomohiro Ishii, the IWGP United States Championship can be challenged for. However, the current title holder just so happens to be Jay White. Martinez has quite a task in taking the belt off him. Martinez proved to the world that he is capable of coming out on top when facing White, but it won't be ignored that he was a real thorn in Punishment's side beforehand. Jay White kicks out of a sick psycho driver. Martinez wants the South of Heaven. White wants the Blade Runner. The champ eats a curb stomp. When he kicks out, a very perturbed challenger brings in a chair. Adam Page takes it away from Martinez. The distraction allows Jay White to nail the Blade Runner and retain his title. Punishment can't allow Page to get away with this. Later that evening, it's Adam Page versus Silas Young. The TV title is on the line, so Punishment ambushes the challenger in an attempt to keep him away from gold too. Page still competes after the attack, but he isn't right in the head. Silas Young hits Misery to defeat his discombobulated opponent. The following night, we try for another singles match between Adam Page and Martinez. However, while Martinez waits for his foe, he becomes the victim of a sneak attack. After being driven through a table, Punishment is in no shape to fight. He stumbles to the back looking for the Hangman. The big man won't be forgetting about Page. They had issues early on that were never resolved, so there's a lot of pent-up anger to be released. Punishment's quest for ROH Gold isn't over yet either. After disposing of Kenny King, the 6'7" Warrior is still adamant that he can beat Silas Young and become television champion. Again, this isn't a one-on-one match though, as Sonata and Hiroshi Tanahashi are involved in this four-way title bout. The Bull shows he has the strength of 3 men. He's looking good tonight. After showing Silas Young up, a fired-up Martinez grabs a chair. Tanahashi disapproves of that kind of thing. Sonata dropkicks them both and leaves himself vulnerable for Silas Young to swoop in and retain with a roll-up. It doesn't look as if Martinez is taking that belt unless he wrestles the champion one-on-one. Bully Ray forms something of a big man unit with Martinez and Shane Taylor. The scheduled 6-man tag against Dalton Castle and the boys is changed when Dalton is taken out and helped away. Bully manipulates the boys into taking on the 3 of them without any backup. Because their hearts are bigger than their brains, the boys accept the match. Dalton Castle does return to help his boys. In fact, their combined efforts almost lead to a win over Punishment. Bully pulls the ref outside just in time. He and Castle brawl to the back. This leaves Martinez and Shane with the boys to score a victory. Martinez does team with Shane Taylor and Bully Ray a couple more times. The combination of these 3 hosses creates an intimidating force to reckon with. But the trio's path of destruction is unfortunately short-lived. Maybe it's not so bad though, because what's next for Punishment Martinez is something that has continually slipped through his fingers. This is a Proving Grounds match. We have Cheeseburger, Jonathan Gresham, Scorpio Sky, Punishment Martinez, Adam Page, and the television champion Silas Young. The first man to score a win gets an instant singles match for the belt. However, if the champion pins someone, he's spared the title defense. Page and Punishment still have business to settle, and this is the place to do just that. The Hangman not only wipes Punishment Martinez out, but he follows up by putting him through a table. With Martinez indisposed, Hangman nearly wins this. Martinez isn't staying away. He curb stomps Page and steals his prey to gain the big W. This means he finally gets Silas Silas Young one-on-one. Silas lands on his feet, saving himself from a psycho driver. The challenger avoids Young's plunge. Silas connects with knees. Martinez avoids eating a misery. Martinez drives the champ's head into a turnbuckle. A ripcord kick follows. After that, a South of Heaven is the move that changes everything. Silas Young's championship reign is finished. Punishment Martinez is finally a title holder in Ring of Honor. One journey is complete. As for Adam Page, finishing that story is up next. There's a big 10-man tag between Los Ingobernables and Bullet Club on TV. Punishment Martinez meets Adam Page for a bit of fisticuffs that go backstage. A street fight is brewing. For now, they're involved in a 6-man tag. The Young Bucks and Page versus the Briscoes and Martinez. A preview of what's to come is given. Page nearly defeats his nemesis, but the Briscoes stop him. The favor is returned when the Bucks are stopped from submitting dem boys. Out of nowhere, Page nails the buckshot lariat. A triple team attack follows, but Punishment kicks out. Martinez fills in as a Briscoe, performing a Doomsday Device variation. The finish comes when Page puts Punishment through a table, and Nick Jackson picks up a flash pin over Jay Briscoe. Awakening from a casket with a face full of war paint, our new television champion puts his prize on the line against a man who's mentally prepared to be the worst version of himself in this street fight. The hangman cometh, and Martinez may be caught off guard. A last ride on the ring apron, followed by a chokeslam stifles Hanger's fervor. As you see, that attack sabotages the shoulder. Punishment knows how to navigate this fight now. Page hits a suplex off the guardrail. That doesn't help his condition, but a pile driver on a chair is exclusively Punishment's problem. Going back to the shoulder, Martinez compromises his opponent just enough to trap his hands in a zip tie. The cowboy is then victimized, but the zip tie flies off when he gets a defiant second wind. Thumbtacks come into play, sending shockwaves through the champion's body. To finish Punishment, Page goes for the dead eye onto Thumbtacks, but Punishment resists and chokeslams Page through a table. The television champion lays atop his foe's carcass, not only to keep his title, but to end this war for good. With this feud behind him, it's time for Martinez to move forward as a fighting champion. He's about to discover the champion's path is the one with the most resistance. Scorpio Sky steps up to become Punishment's second challenger for the television championship. An apron curb stomp leads to a buckle muncher. From there, sending Sky south of heaven is easy peasy. Tying up loose ends, Martinez and the Briscoes team up again as they wrestle the Young Bucks and Marty Scurll. Martinez hasn't forgotten Scurll's misdeeds. Marty survives a curb stomp. Martinez attempts to fight all 3 men at once. The Bucks occupy Martinez and Jay outside while Marty submits Mark Briscoe inside the ring. Martinez deals with the insanity of Delirious in a non-title bout. The lizard-faced man is no match for Punishment. Jimmy Havoc is next as far as non-title matches. This one will be spicy because Jimmy brings up Punishment's success in street fights, so why not make this encounter the same? And so be it. The big man has no problem wrestling in a hardcore environment. Havoc tests the pain threshold of Martinez. It's death by 1,000 paper cuts. Martinez staples the sheet to Havoc's head. He then slices Jimmy with a pizza cutter. The sicko starts to inflict pain on himself. After receiving a tombstone slam on a baking pan, Jimmy puts Martinez through an ironing board. The Punisher begins to let loose. Havoc still has a bit of life left. He hits his acid rainmaker finisher, but it's not enough. Finally, we have our thumbtacks. Jimmy shoves them into Punishment's mouth before he spits them right back. A psycho driver onto tack should be the end, but it's not. A curb stomp onto them is also kicked out of. The South of Heaven mercifully puts a stop to this fight. The former television champion wants another go at Punishment Martinez, but in a #1 contenders match against Chris Sabin, Silas Young falls victim to the cradle shock. The brand new contender is being watched. Chris Sabin does the same to defeat Scorpio Sky. The other half of the Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley, has something to say afterward. Shelley bears his soul, saying he doesn't have a lot left in the tank. From one veteran to another, Shelley encourages Chris Sabin to carry on and earn himself that television championship. The current champ attacks the two from behind. He drives Sabin's face into a steel chair. Before he can do the same to Alex Shelley, Scorpio Sky drives the assailant off. However, later on backstage, Martinez finishes what he started. When SoCal Uncensored and the Briscoes brawl, Punishment appears and helps the brothers out. This is payback for Scorpio Sky's protective actions from the other night. This leads to Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky taking on the Briscoes and Punishment Martinez in 6-man tag action. Chris Sabin interjects himself into the match, and because he keeps Martinez busy, Mark Briscoe eats a best Meltzer ever and is pinned. Around this time, Jeff Cobb of New Japan notability begins making his presence felt in Ring of Honor by continually attacking athletes involved in the Top Prospect tournament. Jeff Cobb finally speaks and informs everyone he is the top prospect. No one can really argue against it either. What does this have to do with Punishment Martinez? As you're about to see, everything. At Death Before Dishonor, Chris Sabin's golden opportunity arrives. He must have taken notes from Jay Lethal because Sabin shares a similar strategy. Martinez hits an apron chokeslam to earn a measure of control. The champ fires wicked elbows. Sabin strikes pretty hard too. Sabin's junior heavyweight style keeps the champ off his game for a bit. Whoops, we have a ref bump. Time to grab a chair. Well, that didn't work out so well, did it, champ? And neither does this. Sabin nearly does it. Paul Turner stops further use of the chair. That slight distraction leads to a psycho driver, curb stomp, and south of heaven. The champ retains. He grabs a chair after the bout. He intends to do to Sabin what he did to Shelley. Enter Jeff Cobb. This is a massive man. Punishment grabs his belt and seemingly backs down. He has a surprise for Cobb though. Oh crap, that did nothing. Is Punishment actually scared? He goes for a kick and gets thrown like a sack of potatoes. Cobb grabs the television championship. He lays it over Punishment's body and there's nothing he can do about it. Aaron Solo is next in line for a shot at the television title. Aaron gives the champion more problems than he anticipated. In fact, it appears he even almost wins. Punishment Martinez pulls out his handy trifecta card that puts almost everyone away. The next challenger is, oh lord, not him again. Punishment Martinez has his work cut out defeating Jeff Cobb. The monsters get face to face. Martinez attacks and it does nothing. A tackle doesn't do anything either. Cobb has an answer for everything. Can anything hurt him? A kick finally takes him to a knee. A stomp follows, but it doesn't matter. With a tour of the islands, Cobb squashes Martinez. It's over. The TV title reign has ended. More than that though, this is the end of Punishment Martinez, at least in Ring of Honor. The next place he's seen is in NXT as his WWE career begins. Let's be honest, his time there has been well spent. As Damian Priest, he's a bona fide WWE superstar. But it's always cool to see where today's stars were yesterday. With that, I've nothing else to add. I hope you enjoyed the video. It was a lot of fun to make. Until next time, keep enjoying pro wrestling.